Hi, everyone. Your trigger warnings for this episode is pedophilia, sexual abuse, child murder, and potential child abuse. So if you don't want to hear any of that, which kind of don't blame you, you can skip ahead. But I promise you, you're going to want to listen to Tanya Lee's story.
How awful.
What was that?
Bang.
Bang.
Outside bang.
Outside bang?
Yes.
Upstairs bang.
I think so.
Oh.
Here we are.
You always sneak it up on me.
I do.
You sneaky Tanya.
I'm a sneaky Tanya. I record before she's ready and I just go, let's go.
We've established who you are. Who am I?
Did we?
Yeah, you said you're Tanya.
I did?
Yes, because I said you sneaky Tanya, and you said I'm sneaky Tanya.
Oh, yeah, I am Tanya Lee. Who are you?
I'm Bee.
Who are you?
Sizzy.
Boop.
No,
Can I boop
she's
you?
not the booper. Moosh.
She, avoids the boop at all costs. Sorry. I'm creating an HR issue.
No.
Already. Top of the episode. I'm already...
Booping is an HR issue?
Well, she's not consenting
This
to my
is
boop.
leaking into my work life, by the way. I yell HR issue a lot at work.
Does anybody get it?
Yes.
That's good.
I mean, not from our podcast, but
Sad.
they get it's a joke.
Yes.
We had our holiday party, right? And Tria,
Quote,
my
unquote, party.
boss.
Wasn't actually a party. It was a Zoom party.
It was, yeah.
You should
yeah.
clarify that.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a party. It was just our property 6 feet apart on Zoom with everybody else. Anyway, Tria went around the room and asked, what is everybody asking for Christmas? And, I'm not getting Christmas presents this year, so I didn't know what to ask for. And she got to me, so I said I wanted my hand blender, and I was doing, you put it in a pot, and then I was doing like this up and down hand.
That sounds really aggressive.
Motion, and everybody was looking at me, and I just went, what I'm doing right now is an HR issue. Yeah. She was like, well, it wasn't until you said that.
Oops.
Well.
That's a bit PGR.
Yeah. I was just making a
PGR.
lewd hand gesture talking about a hand blender, and I did not mean to. But hey, we're getting the hand blender for free. How wonderful.
Heyo.
But this isn't how wonderful. What is this?
This is how awful.
The Christmasode.
Christmasode?
Yeah, this is our Christmas episode because we're not going to record the week after Christmas.
We're gonna take a break.
Wait, that's gonna be taken off.
So
we'll be back in the new year.
This is the ho 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 awful episode.
Yes. I hate that.
That makes one of us. I loved that.
No.
I practiced that the whole drive home. Ho 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 awful.
No. Tanya's in a ugly Christmas sweater right now.
I'm on the naughty list.
It says naughty list, and it has Disney villains on it.
It's supposed to light up, but it's broke.
That's just, you should have returned it.
I didn't realize it was broken. I didn't realize it.
You test the product.
Honestly didn't realize it was a light up sweater when I bought it.
Man, I am seeing all the places it could light up, and this is a disgrace.
Isn't it?
Are you looking forward to anything for this year's quarantine Christmas? Just doing nothing, right?
Yeah, honestly.
No
just
pressure.
Doing nothing. I want to write a little bit. We'll see what happens.
There's all this pressure around Christmas every year that trying to look at this as a year off.
Yeah.
It's like, just take a load off.
Yeah.
Put your feet up. Watch some Christmas movies.
Relax.
Don't put on makeup. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah. I want to read.
I want to eat some cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our friend Jamie made us some Buckeyes the other night.
Oh my God.
I texted her today and I was like, what
Jamie
are those?
is the only friend we allow in our pod. Literally the only one. She works from home. She doesn't do anything. So she's allowed it.
I texted her and I was like, what were those things called that you made? Those were so good. She's like, Buckeyes. And then she sent me the recipe and I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, yes. They're like a peanut butter truffle that's she dipped it in milk chocolate. No, she dipped it in semi-sweet chocolate.
Yeah, much better.
And then the recipe didn't call for the sea salt, but she put it on there because it was too sweet otherwise, and that was the best. She's a genius.
Yeah, I know. She told me her little tricks to the recipe, so...
Yeah, it's semi-sweet instead of milk.
Yeah, I'm going to make it around Christmas.
You should.
Why not?
I think your mom will like them.
Yeah.
They're just delightful.
Just delightful. Oh, man. So what did we pull last week? I pulled true crime.
I pulled witchcraft.
You did.
I did.
And we decided that this episode was going to be the official Christmas episode.
CHRISTMASODE.
CHRISTMASODE. So I chose a crime that happened on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm. And I chose a Christmas witch.
So
which shockingly wasn't that hard to find.
Yeah, this was not hard to find, and but let me tell you,
it's a doozy. It sounds like
it's a doozy. It's probably one of the most awful crimes.
What?
That I know of.
Worse than the Vampire of Sacramento?
No, not worse than that.
Sorry, he's the one to beat.
Yeah, but this one's pretty awful, and it's I didn't realize. I don't know how I didn't realize this happened on Christmas.
Is this something we knew about?
I'm going to take you on a journey.
Okay.
To one of the, I would say, most well-known crimes of our lives.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I know what it is. It's John Bonet.
Born on August 6th.
It's John Bonet Ramsey.
1990. American child beauty queen, John Bonet Ramsey, entered the world as a tiny force to be reckoned with.
You didn't know that was a Christmas thing?
Yeah,
we were so young when it happened. Yeah.
She was the youngest of two children to John and Patricia Ramsey. Her older brother, Burke, was born in 1987.
Burke did it.
Hold your judgment.
Sorry.
I have very strong opinions about this.
Okay.
So please hold your judgment.
Okay.
Because
we'll discuss.
Yes. John Bonet was an outgoing Southern girl who enjoyed being the center of attention. By age 6, she had already won multiple pageant titles, like Colorado State All-Star Kids Cover Girl, America's Little Royal Miss, Tiny Miss Beauty, among a long list of others. We can all remember the doll-like little girl with bouncy blonde hair, a poised, let's be honest, trained smile.
The original Toddlers and Tiara. That girl had a flipper. For those of you not familiar with Toddlers and Tiara, the abusive show, and flippers are what they put on little girls who are missing teeth, and they're basically like little girl dentures.
Yeah. But we all remember her in her pink cowgirl suit, belting out Cowboy Sweetheart. Her father was a multi-millionaire businessman, and her mother, who was also a former beauty queen, who had won Miss West Virginia in 1977, they doted on their daughter in every way they could. She was spoiled to pieces.
I would say so, yes.
So was Burke. They had a rather luxurious home, which was filled to the brim with everything John Bonet and Burke could ever possibly even fathom of needing. By 1994... Leave him alone.
I think he did it,
Leave him alone. No, I'm serious. Leave him alone.
Can't prove it.
By 1994, John's daughter from a previous marriage, Beth, had passed away in a car accident.
Interesting.
And Patsy was diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
Frickin' Patsy.
On December 21st, 1996, John's company was celebrating the sales of $1 billion, and the celebration was reported in the press. Now, this is 5 days before John Bonet was found.
Okay.
Just heads up.
Okay.
John and Patsy believe this may have been what resulted in John Bonet's murder. Her final performance was in a shopping mall in Denver, Colorado on December 22nd, 1996, in which she sang Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Right.
I went and watched it. It was very sweet and very cute.
Yeah, she was adorable.
Yeah, it was really good. She was
an adorable, abused little girl.
Hold your judgment.
I've also watched a ton of stuff.
Hold your judgment. Christmas 1996, the Ramseys hosted a Christmas party at their home in Boulder, Colorado, in which Patsy claimed to have between 1,500 to 2,000 people through their home within 2 days.
Yikes.
Yeah. They had a huge home.
Huge home. Yeah.
Just
I've seen that
hosted,
home.
like, Christmas was a whole
I think
thing.
they still live there.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I know for a fact John doesn't.
Yeah. No.
At around 9 p.m. on Christmas evening, the Ramseys drove home from a party at a friend's place, wanting to get home early enough to get rest for a flight the following morning to Michigan to meet John's older children. He still had two living older children from a previous marriage. John Bonet fell asleep in the car on the ride home and was carried to bed by John. Patsy went to tuck her in one final time and prayed over her. The last words she ever spoke to her daughter was that prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time anyone saw her alive.
Mm-hmm.
I see your judgment face.
Except for Burke.
And I thought the same thing as you.
Okay. All right. Change my mind.
And I watched 6 documentaries.
Okay. So you are now the John Bonet expert. This is the like number one theory is that Burke did it. and that the parents
The number
covered it
one
up.
is the parents. There's one
Well,
documentary.
from everything I've heard of people,
Yeah.
like podcasts, and like every podcast I've ever listened to that's done John Bonet says
Really?
Burke. All
It
of them
really
says
makes me
Burke.
sad. I'm going to get into it
Yeah.
because I have a really strong opinion on it.
Okay.
On the morning of December 26th, 1996, the Ramseys woke up early, around 5 a.m. Patsy was making her way downstairs and found some pieces of paper sitting on the stairs. Strange. She picked them up and started reading the first few lines, and the words, "We have your daughter," jumped from the page. She dropped everything and rushed up the stairs, screaming for John, and threw John Bonet's door open to find their daughter missing from her bed. According to Burke, their son's police statement, Patsy then burst into his room, turned on the lights to make sure he was still there, and turned the lights back off. Burke pretended to sleep, freaked out by all of the screaming he had just heard. The note asked for a ransom of $118,000 and stated that they would receive a call between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. to give instructions for collecting the ransom. Would you like me to read the ransom letter? Do you have interest in that?
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted to ask before I forced it on you.
Yeah, how about it?
Because it's a lot. So it says, Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. Let me see if I can read this because the handwriting is difficult to read. Listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves.
It's fair.
We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter.
Man.
You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded.
Jesus.
If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement counter pressures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory! S.B.T.C.
Okay.
So that was the ransom letter she found, which I don't think she read thoroughly. I think...
Well, no, because she wrote it.
It sounds like... Well,
I'm really frustrating her.
It sounds like... Well, because I have
Okay.
an opinion that might make you sad.
Okay.
It sounds to me that she read "We have your daughter" and just dropped the papers and ran up the stairs, screaming, trying to find her kid. Did not find her kid. So John and Patsy called the police at 5:52 a.m. A patrol car arrives within 7 minutes. They were immediately suspicious of the parents, saying they weren't acting right, and that Patsy was still in last night's clothes. One noted Patsy was crying and watching him through splayed fingers covering her eyes, and that the couple didn't console each other. The first detective to arrive, Detective Linda Arndt, stated in an ABC interview that John struck her as, quote, cordial. When asked if he was upset, she repeated, cordial. So I'm validating now. I'm validating the theory.
Yeah.
They waited for the call between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. without success. Detective Arndt suggested John search the house again for anything that seemed out of place or strange to help pass the time. This is after the police and detectives already searched the house and did not find JonBenet in the house.
But she's in the house.
She is.
Yeah.
We all know that she's in the house.
Yeah.
I would assume we all know.
Yeah.
This is a very popular
And
story.
they obviously haven't looked very... That goes to show that these are not thorough cops. The cops don't fully do their job.
Spoiler alert. This is my theory. So anyway, about the cops.
Okay.
So when he made his way to the basement, finally, he knew something was wrong because a window was slightly cracked open with a suitcase placed underneath it. I have a picture of it.
Okay.
This was what he found.
Okay.
Do you see the marking on the wall too?
Yeah. Clearly
somebody used the suitcase to leave through the window.
Yeah, I was just trying to see where the... I mean, we have marks like that on our wall. That just happens sometimes from moving things around, especially on white walls. I was just trying to figure out what was on the, like, through the window. I'm guessing it's like a window well.
Yeah, it's like
a basement.
It's actually a pretty short well that you can just step in and out of from the grass. It's very...
I mean, that also looks like it could be a very easy thing to, like, set up to make it look like something.
Sure.
Yeah.
These are crime scene photos, by the way, that they took before John searched the house.
Okay.
Actually. And then this is a picture of the basement. JonBenet's body is behind that door.
Yikes.
And they took pictures of it and didn't look behind the door.
How do you not open a door?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when he made his way to the basement, he knew something was wrong. The window that I just showed you was slightly cracked.
This is a cop or this is John?
This is John now.
Okay.
And John and his friend, because one of their family friends was over to console them. So it was two of them. So John and the friend came downstairs and noticed the window was open, and John went to look in the wine cellar, which is what was behind that door. Mm-hmm. When he opened the door, he found JonBenet. He didn't immediately realize that she wasn't alive. Mm-hmm. He screamed and wrapped her in a blanket and was shouting, I found her, and he carried her up the stairs. And when retelling the discovery of JonBenet's body, Detective Linda Arndt stated that when John made his way up the stairs with her, she clutched her holster, counting her 18 bullets in fear, feeling that she knew the killer was in the house. Might I note, this is Detective Arndt's first murder case. Ever. Okay. Just to note.
Okay. Inexperienced.
Yes.
Amateur.
So the Ramseys begin to understand at this point, eventually, that they are suspects. And they hired attorneys. The Boulder police were convinced that they were guilty.
Sorry. You can get mad at me, but
no, I know.
I have a very big problem, and it makes him even more suspicious that John picked her up and moved her. Mm-hmm. Because the number one thing is you don't do it. I mean, I understand if you're upset at your child, you want to pick up your child. Yeah. Like, there's that theory, sure. But it also is a way of tampering with evidence.
It is.
And putting your DNA around her.
But I think I understand.
I understand the one side and I understand the other. It can go either way.
So because the Boulder police were so convinced that they were guilty, they leaked to the media their certainty that the parents were involved. They leaked details like the absence of footprints in the snow outside the window was the first claim against the Ramseys used as evidence. The second was that a handwriting expert matched Patsy's handwriting to the ransom note.
Right.
John left the house for a period of time the morning of the 26th. That was another piece of evidence they leaked. Not a single leak was true.
Really?
Yes. There was no snow on the pass because there hadn't snowed that day.
Okay.
So that was debunked.
Okay.
No handwriting effort.
The snow thing is obviously true because there's no snow in the well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The handwriting expert never happened.
Never happened?
No.
Okay.
It was never concluded that Patsy Ramsey wrote the note.
Okay.
But the media ran with that.
Oh, yeah.
John Ramsey never left the house that morning.
Okay.
And there was also a claim that there was pornography found in the house. That was not true.
Oh, I don't
there was
remember
never
that claim.
Pornography found in the house.
And no, pornography. Was it like child pornography they were saying, or just
yes?
Oh, okay.
Which was not true.
No, okay.
So
I mean, to be fair,
yes,
families that put their little girls into pageants where they look like adult women probably have an issue with little girls and wanting them to be women.
Yeah, I mean, Patsy was also a pageant queen, so it kind of makes
Patsy,
sense.
Oh, Patsy.
Oh, Patsy. So
even if she didn't have a hand in this, Patsy was a piece of work.
So, eventually the case goes to the district attorney. Right. So, homicide detective Lou Smith was hired by the DA to fully investigate the case 3 months after the murder. So, due to all the media leaks, Smith was truly convinced that it would be an open and shut case. He was like, the parents did it. No question.
They just wanted it to be done.
Yeah. He was like, this is what's going to happen. So he is also one of the best detectives ever. He was involved in the O.J. Simpson trials.
Mm-hmm.
And he has won, I think it was 99%. He has solved 99% of his cases or something, some crazy statistic like that. He's like figured everything out. He started with the crime scene photos.
Mm-hmm.
And he reviewed a few particular photos that I showed you of the basement where John Bonet's body was found. One of the open window with the mark on the wall beneath it. And the second was of the cellar door concealing the body of John Bonet behind it. And he noticed that the mark on the wall looked like someone's foot like slid on the wall. Like they kind of like used the wall to brace themselves to get down.
Yeah.
There were also unexplained marks on John Bonet's back and face that were like almost like 2 dots.
Yeah.
Like separated maybe 2 inches apart.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure the exact measurements, but about. So he noticed those marks, and he concluded that it was the markings of a stun gun, which the Ramseys did not have possession of a stun gun. They never purchased a stun gun. There was no history of stun guns. But he had previously solved a murder where there was stun gun marks on the body.
Mm-hmm.
So he found 2 of those matching exactly.
On John Bonet.
On John Bonet's body. Shortly after the murder, a spot of blood was discovered in John Bonet's underwear. A test revealed that mixed with her blood was the DNA of an unknown male. They did test the DNA against the Ramsey family, and it did not match the Ramseys.
Right.
The Boulder Police Department ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
They withheld it from the DA office for months.
Mm-hmm.
John Bonet's cause of death.
They love doing that.
Yeah. John Bonet's cause of death was 2 significant occurrences. I really don't want to get into the details of it, so I'm just going to keep this as bland as possible because
it's a 6-year-old girl.
It's a 6-year-old girl, and it's too horrific for me to get into.
Yeah.
But the first was asphyxia,
and
the second was a severe blunt force trauma to the head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into the other things, but
there's a lot of proposed sexual assault.
Proposed, not proven, but proposed.
Yeah, right.
So, a secret memorandum that Detective Smith put together 6 years after John Bonet's murder shows a list of potential suspects that had not yet been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
He ordered a DNA test and was able to completely exonerate the Ramseys in 2006.
Okay.
But it was too late for Patsy because she had passed away from ovarian cancer 2 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
There also is a significant amount of evidence showing that John Bonet was sexually abused at the time of her murder.
Right.
There were accusations that she had vaginal swelling that predated her murder, creating speculation that something had been going on previously.
Mm-hmm.
But after re-examining the evidence, experts determined that it was inconclusive because she had been taken to a pediatric office before her murder and was diagnosed with vaginitis, which is swelling.
Yeah.
Basically. Her pediatrician insisted that he looks for things like that to see if there was sexual abuse. And he said he never, ever saw any signs of sexual abuse in John Bonet.
Right.
And that the swelling or vaginitis is extremely common in children.
Yep.
And it's usually caused by a reaction to soap.
I had it.
Yeah.
Not to overshare.
But yeah.
I had it.
It's very common.
Yeah. I had to put all this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So they said that oftentimes when they find children with those kinds of issues, that they usually don't immediately go to
sexual assault.
Yeah. But the media did.
Right.
The media
of course they did.
ran with that because she was a pageant girl and she was pedophiles sexualized her naturally. That's what they do. But there's this quote that this is what hit me the hardest. And it's from Detective Robert Whitson, who was one of the first on the scene with Detective Linda Art, but he had left early.
Okay.
So he wasn't there when John Bonet's body was found.
Okay.
And he was one of the senior officers first on the site at the Ramsey home. And he now believes that the Ramseys are innocent. And this is a quote from him. He said, "They formed a groupthink mentality. Everybody has to believe the same thing, and anyone who disagrees with that primary hypothesis is excluded from the group."
Okay.
Which we all know is true in police officers.
Very true.
So no matter what your opinion is, we all know that they will all agree. I mean, there are different cases to prove that. Let's talk about Making a Murderer, Stephen Avery.
Yep.
Who else? There was somebody recently.
It's basically fall in line behind the bad apple. Nobody cares about the good apples.
Yeah.
Or you're out. You're shunned.
We can't think independently. We have to think the same thing.
Right.
So when one person says it, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Is the police force a cult? Next time on cults.
Yes. So in August 1998, a grand jury was called. Many believed this would indict and order the Ramseys to trial. They examined 30,000 exhibits of evidence.
30,000?
30,000.
Lord Christ.
They met for 13 months, and in October of 1999, they disbanded. And the claim was that there was not sufficient evidence to indict anyone.
For cases like this, the jury has to, like, sequester.
Yes.
So that means they were held in a hotel for 13 months, and the only people they had to interact with was each other, and they weren't allowed to talk about the case.
Yeah. And I mean, this wasn't technically a trial. This was just...
Or watch TV. Or read.
Yeah. This was just the grand jury studying the evidence and seeing if there was a claim to make a case.
Getting that jury duty?
No. So the evidence that they had found was a paintbrush garrote. Like, basically somebody... Do you know what a garrote is?
Yeah.
It's like... So for those that don't know, I really don't want to describe it, but it's basically something that you tie a noose around to tighten it. So you, like, twist it.
When you're not strong enough, it twists it, and it's messed up.
So that's what was found around her neck.
Oh, poor thing.
There was also a... this comes in later, but there's a bowl of pineapple that was sitting out with a cup of tea. Like, actually, it was just a glass with a tea bag in it.
Yeah.
And there was pineapple in
her stomach.
In her stomach when she was found.
Almost like she was being kept in the cellar and fed that? Is that what?
No, the bowl of pineapple was, like, out in the dining room.
Oh,
it was,
okay,
left,
okay.
like, almost like...
She'd had a snack.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She'd had a snack at some point and they didn't clean it up.
Okay.
Or whatever. So that's a little suspicious because she had fallen asleep in the car, right? And then gone straight to bed. So did she get up in the middle of the night
and have a snack? Or
did somebody come get her in the middle of the night and give her a snack? You know, who knows?
Right.
So there's also this theory that there was this big heavy flashlight that was in their home that had no prints on it. Mm-hmm. And she did suffer a head injury. Mm-hmm. And the rim of the flashlight fit perfectly in her injury.
Okay.
So a lot of people think that maybe she was hit in the head with the flashlight and it was wiped. Like, it was wiped and put back. Mm-hmm. There was a shoe print on the suitcase. Like someone...
Oh, Izzy's snoring. I was like, what is that sound? You put her to sleep.
Izzy, this is a really traumatic story. I can't believe you're sleeping through it.
She is snoring. Sorry.
Did you have a hard day?
That was a car.
So, couple of potential suspects.
Okay.
That were investigated. Mm-hmm. This one to me is really interesting.
Okay.
There was a Santa Claus impersonator named Bill McReynolds, who was a close family friend. He often visited the home portraying Santa for the kids. They found a note in JonBenét's room from Bill McReynolds that said, quote, "Something special will happen to you after Christmas," end quote.
Bah.
Yeah. It was also discovered that his daughter and another friend had been kidnapped years ago and molested by a person that they had never found. A lot of people suspected it was him.
Okay.
His wife wrote a play about a young girl who was tortured and murdered in her basement.
Okay.
But he had an alibi.
Okay.
So he had dinner with his family about an hour and a half away from the Ramsey home that night. Mm-hmm. And he had recently had heart surgery. So the theory was that he would have been too weak to even carry JonBenét to the basement, let alone strangle her. My thought process, though, to give the benefit of the doubt to the murderer,
that he wouldn't do it,
is that if JonBenét knew him and trusted him,
she would just go with him.
She would just go with him. He wouldn't have to carry her anywhere. Exactly. Yeah. And maybe he would have made her a snack and she would have eaten it.
And then he'd been like, let me show you something in the basement. And she would have followed him.
Right.
And if he was too weak to strangle her, he would have needed the garrote.
Or maybe he hit her over the head while she was eating her pineapple with this flashlight that was in the dining room.
And they maybe would have found blood in the dining room.
Yeah. No, she didn't break the skin.
Oh, it just like...
Her head, it just indented, it cracked her skull. Honey. But because the skin around your head is really elastic, it didn't crack. She didn't have blood. Okay. But anyway, I don't know, obviously, the series of events. We can't really tell. But McReynolds was also rumored to have paid a little too much attention to JonBenét, going so far as to arrange a secret visit from Santa Claus on Christmas. Supposedly, he had chosen JonBenét to be his, quote, special friend. Going so far as to bring a vial of glitter gifted to him by the 6-year-old with him into heart surgery. Yikes. Even stranger, he asked his wife to mix the gold glitter in with his ashes were he to die.
What?
Yeah. He submitted DNA samples and was excluded as a suspect as he was not a match.
Messed up.
4 years after her death, a call from University of Colorado campus police to the Boulder
You
police.
just said Colorado's so Chicago.
Yeah, Colorado.
Colorado.
Was made about a trespassing man with a backpack. So inside of this man's backpack, and the reason why they called Boulder police was because he was carrying around a poem about John Bonet called Ode to John Bonet.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had a stun gun.
Mm-hmm.
This man was named Gary Oliva, who was a registered sex offender in Oregon and had served time for attempting to strangle his own mother with a telephone cord. Oliva was in Boulder at the time that John Bonet was killed.
Okay.
He was homeless and staying in a church approximately 10 minutes away from the Ramsey house. He admitted to having a John Bonet shrine in his home.
Yeah.
He was also seen and photographed at her candlelit vigil 1 year after her death.
I just put goosies on my legs.
Yeah. He was also not a DNA match.
Obviously not.
Yeah. So.
But it's not uncommon for creepy ass pedophiles to become obsessed with pageant toddlers in the same way that men become obsessed with Playboy centerfolds.
I find all of these theories interesting because I never heard of any
I didn't hear those.
I never heard of any other potential.
I heard of a family friend. I think it must have been the Santa Claus guy. Yeah. I heard that theory explored, and then obviously Burke.
Yeah, they were all investigated.
Yeah.
All of these people were investigated that I'm naming. Michael Helgoth, who was an electrician who
That's a name.
Yes. Helgoth, literally.
Man, there are some like emo kids who are like, why isn't that my name?
He was a 26-year-old electrician who worked in a nearby auto salvage yard. Mm-hmm. He was discovered having committed suicide.
Okay.
Before he died, he bragged to his neighbor about how at Christmas 1996, he and a friend were going to make about 50 to 60K in a business deal that never actually went through. Now, reminder, the ransom was $118,000. He had a history of torturing and killing animals and a record of sexual assault with a child. He said to the neighbor, I wonder what it would feel like to crack someone's skull. He was also tied to an alleged property dispute involving the Ramseys. People were suspicious of him, especially his neighbor, because they felt that his partner staged a suicide because basically he killed himself the day after the DA announced that they were closing in on a suspect. Uh-huh. So it's suspicious timing.
That's definitely suspicious.
And they think that the person that he said him and his friend had a business deal or whatever, but they tested his DNA. He was also not a match. Okay, this is my favorite theory. Yeah. Okay, so Michael
Pause for wine.
Okay, yeah.
We are drinking. Settiselli Sangiovese.
I need alcohol for this. Yeah. This one's a doozy. Now, do you understand why it took me so long to do research?
I do, I understand.
Okay. But it was actually very interesting research because...
You had more than me.
No, it's fine. Okay. It was actually really interesting research because it was such a popular case that I really didn't know much about other than the fact that the parents did it. Or Burke did it. Like, that's all I knew about it. Yeah. So, I was very excited to, like, dive in and find out why that was the theory. Okay, so Michael Tracy, who is a documentarian obsessed with the John Bonet case, became an expert. He's constantly, and he's very close to the Ramseys, actually. Mm-hmm. He's constantly inundated with messages all day long with tips and theories. So he gets an email from someone who calls himself Daxus. Have you heard of this suspect? No. Okay. This blows my mind because I didn't either, and I can't believe I didn't know about this.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Daxus included a poem that said things like, quote, John Bonet, my love, I love you. Like, he just
like wrote this. Yeah.
Seems like an obsessed fan, right? Yeah. So at first, Tracy dismissed the message because this guy's just a crazy pedophile. Mm-hmm. But he's like, I'm going to strike up a conversation anyway. So Daxus then begins giving unknown details about the crime. One of the facts that he gave was the fact that John Bonet had a runny nose when she died. There was like some of her snot found on the duct tape, and she did have a runny nose that night.
A 6-year-old with a runny nose.
Yes.
Not groundbreaking.
He described the bracelet she was wearing when she was found, which was not public knowledge. He also said that when her body was found, she was wearing underwear that said the word Wednesday on them.
No.
which is true,
Uh,
and not public knowledge. So he admits to Tracy that he's a pedophile and says that his favorite age for a little girl is 6 years old. Daxus admits that he witnessed a blow to her head that accidentally killed her, and he said that she died in his arms. Tracy naturally reaches out to the DA office, and Daxus was very adamant that he wanted to get on the phone with Patsy to tell her that, like, your daughter died peacefully in my arms. It's okay. Yes.
I'm sure that will just put her at ease.
Yeah, so they staged a call and obviously traced it
Okay.
to Bangkok, Thailand,
Okay.
where this man was living,
Okay.
and an arrest was made. So Daxus's real name is John Mark Carr. Still unfamiliar?
That sounds a little bit more familiar.
So John Mark Carr was married twice. The first time he was married was to a 13-year-old child. The time of his arrest, he was 41.
Okay.
He was a grade school teacher.
Okay. God.
Yes.
They
They tested him. His DNA
did not match.
They also could not place him in Boulder on the day JonBenet was murdered, but he continues to insist that he was there with another person when she died, but he did not actually commit the murder. That the second person that was there with him committed the murder. The weirdest thing about him, though, is the fact that he had all of these
information.
details.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's about.
Unless he's like a hacker and got into police files, and it just seems so far-fetched.
So I didn't mention this, but he has since, I don't even know if he identifies as he, to be honest. I think he identifies as a woman now.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know, so forgive me, but I think she now goes by Alexis.
Okay.
And she castrated her penis.
Herself?
No, surgically.
Okay.
Because of the pedophilic desires.
Well, you know what? Good for her.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Good job.
So that's that.
Appreciate it.
That was
you
just
still have hands. Maybe cut those off next.
Yeah, just a tidbit of information. Yeah. So for now, the investigation is frozen. Boulder police could still do a great deal, but they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Smith died in 2010 from colon cancer. He left behind his manifesto, which is now in the hands of his family. Between 50 to 60 possible suspects are in this document. No one has taken over his investigation to date. And in 2008, touch DNA was used on her clothes, and the DNA matched that of the DNA found in her underwear.
Okay.
So that's 2 spots where the same DNA
person
has been found, clearly showing that an unidentified male is the perpetrator of the crime. The DNA of the unidentified male found at the scene of the crime is already inputted in the CODIS system awaiting a hit. So they're just waiting
for somebody to be arrested for their DNA to match. Or like 23andMe. I mean, that caught the Golden State Killer.
So it could happen.
It could happen, yeah.
It's been 20 years, but, I
hope we see it.
20 plus years. Yeah. It's been like 25 years, but it can still happen.
Yeah.
The only thing, and I'm going to close on this.
Okay.
Before discussing my opinion. We can talk about Burke.
Yes.
I didn't put notes in here for a reason.
Okay.
The only thing they have likely determined is that the DNA comes from a Hispanic male.
Huh?
Yes. As opposed to the initial assumption that it came from a Caucasian male.
Why would they know? How do they know it's a Hispanic male?
They can tell in the DNA.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. That's crazy.
So, okay. Why I don't think it's Burke.
Okay.
I don't think Burke would have been able to fashion a garrote.
No.
And choke her like that.
Right.
And she was choked. And I hate to describe this, but they found nail marks from underneath where she was choked, where the nylon wire was, to try and pull.
Like she was trying to pull.
Yes.
Okay.
So the theory is that Burke hit her over the head by accident.
Yeah.
And she died.
Right. And the parents tried to cover it up.
Yes.
By making it look like that.
But she was alive when she was choked.
Okay. So
she was pulling. This is what Detective Lou Smith found. He found small half-moon nail marks right where the nylon wire is. Mm-hmm. Also, they don't believe that Burke could have been strong enough.
No, Burke wouldn't have been strong enough
to choke her.
No.
Or
understand how to make a garrote.
Yeah. Why I get so upset about this is because the whole theory for Patsy doing it is that JonBenet wet the bed and Patsy had a fit of rage.
Right.
And beat her child to death.
Right.
That's the main theory.
Right.
And that just makes me so angry. And the fact that this family was watched and judged by how they grieved their daughter just makes me so upset, because you shouldn't look at a family and be like, they didn't grieve hard enough.
Right, but
they didn't grieve the right way.
Right, but at the same time, you do have to pay attention to certain things. Like we watched the West Memphis 3, and by the end of it, we were absolutely sure that it was the stepdad of one of them that killed them.
Right.
Absolutely sure. And he was like that. He didn't grieve normally.
Yeah.
And it was that caused the questions, and then you started realizing things about him. So it's on one hand, I get what you're saying, where it's like, it's not fair because everybody grieves differently. I mean, the day after my dad died, I was making jokes about my dead dad.
Right.
Because that's how I cope with things. And other people would be like, that's really messed up. But I had to make jokes.
Yeah.
So that I didn't lose my mind.
And the Burke theory, I think the reason why it upsets me so much is because they judged a 9-year-old boy as to how he handled the death of his daughter or his sister.
Right. The thing with Burke was that I think if my memory serves me correct, he had a history of getting kind of violent towards her when they would play.
He hit her in the face with a golf club once.
Yeah, he hit her in the face with a golf club. There had been instances where she had bruises on her back from him.
Right.
Yeah, he was an aggressive player.
Yeah.
So the thought of him accidentally killing her isn't completely off base.
Yeah, but I also think about how, like, kids roughhouse with their siblings. Like, having, like, my mom shredded her sister's hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like, shredded her sister's hand.
Yeah.
Like, siblings do messed up stuff to each other.
My mom could tell stories about her sisters, too. They absolutely do, and that's not a reason to say. That's why I'm saying accidentally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he would do it on purpose.
Right.
But he was roughhousing with his little sister and could accidentally murder her, and then her parents are like, what do? I like freak out.
Right. So it's the noose.
Yeah.
That's what makes me completely
and it's
exonerate him.
When there's the video of him being questioned and he's like bizarre during it.
He is.
And the theory was that he was autistic, or he was on the spectrum, which has since been debunked. He's not autistic. No. He's not on the spectrum. And then he did an interview as an adult, and he's talking about his sister's murder, and he's smiling the whole time. So there's just this like weird, and like, I know some people smile and laugh when they're really uncomfortable. Yeah. But like, you wouldn't be like talking about your like dad's horrific murder and smiling while talking about it.
No.
So there's just a lot of like,
heat,
Burke is bizarre and Burke is still bizarre. So, and I don't want to judge him, especially if he isn't at fault. And even if he did do it, even if that theory is true, I still wouldn't necessarily say he's at fault. It was a 9-year-old that was playing too hard. Yeah. That would be it. I didn't know that they debunked Patsy's handwriting.
Yeah. There was a lot of
Did you watch Casting JonBenet?
No, I didn't actually watch that.
Okay, that's one I watched, and it was very biased towards her family being involved.
So,
but it also sheds a lot of light on like family, friends, and what they assume is her sexual assault history.
Yeah, I found okay. Let me give my sources.
And that she was a very like depressed kid.
Yeah,
that she did not enjoy the life that Patsy was forcing her to live.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a family friend. There was one family friend who I saw in two different documentaries, and it was the only friend that spoke. Clearly enjoying the attention. Yes. And this woman was the one who told everybody about the golf club incident. Okay. She's the only one. She was trying to hint it, like push that it was Burke. She thinks it's Burke. Okay. But she's the only one who has actually stated that. So it's interesting. But anyway, so my sources were a Newsweek article entitled "The Strange World of JonBenet" by Jerry Adler, a Rolling Stone article called "Who Killed JonBenet Ramsey? 8 Possible Suspects" by Bryn Levitt. And I watched 3 documentaries, 2 of which were series. So it was a lot of hours TV on Saturday and Sunday. I watched an A&E documentary called "The Killing of JonBenet: The Truth Uncovered." I watched a CBS documentary called "The Case of JonBenet Ramsey," which is 2 episodes, I think. Yeah. An ID documentary series called "JonBenet: An American Murder Mystery." That was 3 episodes. See, the only one that pushed the Burke theory was "The Case of." And "The Case of," this documentary, I watched it and I was angry the whole time I was watching it. because of how insanely biased it was
Towards-
against the Ramseys.
Yeah.
And they literally would analyze like interviews between like, and I was so mad because I was like, this is a grieving parent and you're judging for her crying, like the way she's crying.
Yeah, they definitely picked apart the way Patsy was crying, and that she was over dramatic, or
Yeah.
she was under.
And they
like,
perpetuated that theory that the media, that Boulder police involved the media
Yeah.
into by leaking incorrect evidence
Mm-hmm.
and incorrect information that was never proven.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole documentary just pissed me off.
Mhm.
So I'm saying that's my source because
You watched it.
I watched it, but I did not quote it.
Okay.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
The Truth Uncovered was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And they really dived into, and I think the ID documentary might have been the best because it's unbiased. They do talk you through the
Mhm.
Ramseys, and they do talk you through all the other possible suspects, but they do remind you that the Ramseys were exonerated.
You should watch the casting of John Bonet
Yeah.
and give me your opinion. I'm just curious what
Yeah.
you think of it.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it.
I've seen a lot of biased media. I remember, like, I mean, even when we were teenagers, the Ramseys were still on the cover of tabloids.
Yeah. Sorry, this is a long episode because that was a long one.
Oh, that's okay. Mine's short.
Okay.
And I remember thinking that's crazy. Like even when I was a kid and when I was
Yeah.
a teenager and I was seeing all this Ramsey footage, I always thought, I'm like, there's no, because maybe I just lived in a bubble where it just seemed absurd that a parent would kill their
Yeah,
child.
of course.
So I was always like, that's weird, whatever.
Yeah.
And so last year when I went to start watching John Bonet stuff and they were bringing Burke up, I was like, well, it makes more sense.
I mean,
Parents wanting
Yeah.
to cover up an accident so they can save their one last living
Yeah.
child. That makes a little bit more sense. And Patsy coming across more like nervous and anxious and
Yeah.
like she's at the end of her rope, like anxiety wise.
right.
That made a little bit more
So-
sense. And then all the podcasts I'd listened to that covered John
Yeah.
Bonet were very biased and 100% thought it. Like my favorite
Yeah.
murder, anytime John Bonet's brought up, they're like, Burke did it, brother did it, like every time.
And it makes me sad because so I did watch his police interrogations.
Yeah.
And he does say weird things like
But he's also a 9-year-old.
he's a 9-year-old. They ask him like, "Do you know what happened?" He said, "I know what happened." And then he like demonstrates stabbing,
Mm-hmm.
and he says she was stabbed, which she wasn't.
She wasn't.
He's like maybe they took a knife and they stabbed her, or maybe they took a hammer and they hit her in the head, and he's like swinging his arm around.
Yeah.
But if you've ever met a 9-year-old kid,
They swing around all the
they
time.
do weird things like
Yeah,
that.
they
And-
do.
And he's like, and they're like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just playing video games." Like the kid is not dealing.
No,
with the
because
death
this
of
is
his
probably the
sister.
first death that he's experienced.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can imagine all the attention John Bonet got and all the emphasis on John Bonet. He was probably a little resentful of her.
Mhm.
So I don't exactly see him missing her right
No.
off the bat.
Right off the bat, he's probably just like, "Wow,
Cool,
like,
I have all this attention now.
yeah."
Yeah.
So like, and I was just frustrated with the way some of these, or specifically the case of,
Mhm.
just ripped into how a 9-year-old grieved his sister. It just
Right.
it just
A
rubbed me the
9-year-old
wrong
who
way.
doesn't understand grief.
Yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I
Yeah.
didn't like it. So
Yeah.
I don't I'm not a fan of the Burke theory. I do understand.
He also doesn't have any of like the McDonald triad, which I
No,
know people
yeah.
say like like some people don't really believe in it. But there's no history of him abusing animals or
Yeah.
other children. There's no history of him wetting the bed. There's no history of him setting fire to things. Like he was a roughhouser
Yeah,
and a little weird.
yeah, and so
So was my
like,
brother.
Right, and that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Was like not just your brother, but I've heard so many sibling stories about
Yeah,
crazy.
you're
your brother
rough
threw
with
you
each
down the
other.
house, down
My
the
brother
stairs.
duct taped pillows to me and
Yes.
threw me down the stairs.
You could have had a head injury and died.
I could have because he didn't duct tape a pillow to my head. He
You
also
know?
used to put me in his hockey pads and put me in his goalpost and then take slap shots against me
Yeah.
with no helmet.
So
There was never a helmet.
So I don't think that the police are involved with her murder. That's not my theory. My theory is that
They don't do their jobs.
the police did not like
The
that-
Ramseys.
the Ramseys, and they didn't understand why they weren't consoling each other. But there were so many descriptions of like when John Bonet was found and Patsy saw her, that there were detectives that walked in and that Patsy was cradling John Bonet and just
Convulsing.
like
yeah.
wailing, like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mother who had not believed that her
Seen their
child
dead
was dead.
child.
And like just the vision of that has haunted them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's haunting to think about. And so like that to me, whether or not it was performed or whatever, it pisses me off that the police disregarded the actual emotional moments that happened.
They decided as soon as they got there.
Yes, they decided.
Yeah.
And the fact that John moved her body is frustrating.
It's frustrating, but also can be explained as a parental grief. You want
Especially-
to collect your
yes.
child. You want to hold your child.
Especially when he did not believe she was dead. He
He
thought
had-
she was unconscious.
Oh.
So he carried her upstairs.
Like, I have her. Help
I have
me.
her
Yeah.
help her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The whole story just
Yeah.
there was so much I did not know. I did not know about this Daxus character,
No.
which really throws a wrench in the whole thing.
Yeah.
I do believe it was two people,
That would make sense.
especially just judging by the ransom letter. I do think it was two people. I think they caught on to the fact that the police were called
Mm-hmm.
and did not call the house.
Mm-hmm.
John Bonet was already dead, so that threat was
They
done.
knew they'd already killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think...
I mean, when someone is that rich and their daughter is a public figure,
Mhm.
it makes them a target.
Yeah.
For people like that.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know what else I could say. I mean, I could go on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. John
I
Bonet
literally
is
talked about this for hours at work today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
It's interesting.
it's interesting. It's awful, but I think the most...
It's put a question mark on my theories.
Yeah, I think the most important part of the conversation is what happened after,
Yeah.
which is the media circus. And we've all seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it happen.
Yeah.
We know what it's capable of, and it works.
It does. It does.
Convinced me.
Yeah.
So,
I
anyway.
mean, look at this is a controversial topic, but
Yeah.
I'm going to use it as an example.
Right.
Look at Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Right? The trial by public was so severe that this man does not have a career anymore.
Right.
He has no reputation. He's losing his court cases,
Mm-hmm.
all because, she said that he was abusive. She had pictures, whatever. And then the evidence starts coming out.
Yeah.
The audio recordings of her admitting she was the one that was abusing him. The
Right.
hospital pictures of Johnny in the hospital, beaten, bruised, the tip of his finger cut off from
Yeah.
her. I mean, endless evidence that it was Amber, not Johnny.
Right.
Her ex also sued her for domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Her ex-girlfriend, because she's bisexual.
Yes.
Just for clarification. So she has a history of abuse in her relationships.
Right.
And still, we have all of this evidence. And still, he's the guilty one.
Yeah.
He's the one. She hasn't lost her job. He's lost all of his. He's still losing his court cases.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
That's another
Unreal.
thing I do to jump back to the Ramseys.
Mhm.
There was never ever, especially with the parents. I mean, I know Burke was a bit rough, but there was never ever any instance of physical abuse in the Ramsey house. They were
Okay.
not abusive. There was no history of abuse in their family. There
mean,
was no violence.
okay. Yeah, sure.
To our knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not stating there was physical abuse. I think any parent who puts their child in a pageant that severely, there is psychological abuse.
Yeah.
You're pushing your child to be this picture perfect image, showing them images of themselves that is not the reality, and basically taking away their childhood.
Right. I mean, according to
But that's just
Betsy-
not agreeing with
Yeah.
that lifestyle.
Right. And like, I don't really have an opinion on this, but
Mhm.
according to Patsy, she said that when John Bonet saw that her mom had been that, she said, I want to do that.
Sure.
And I'm sure she did
Because
want
little girls
to.
want to be princesses.
Yeah.
But
Went along with
like the pictures of Jean Bonnet and the videos of Jean Bonnet,
Yeah.
it's disturbing.
Yeah. I mean,
She's a little girl, and they made her look like a grown up woman
Yeah.
that almost looks like she's being sexualized. It's bizarre.
Right. I mean,
I'm
it's
sure that was
all-
not their intent
No.
because it's what Patsy knew. But
Right.
it was, in my opinion, let little girls be little girls. If she
Yeah.
wants to play dress up, let her play dress up.
Right.
Don't shove her in front of adults to be judged on her beauty.
Sure. No, I agree. With that.
Yeah.
An
That's
hour
a lot.
later.
An hour. Well, yep, sure is.
So, well, you know what? You guys aren't getting an episode next week, so
This is a super duper episode.
yes. All right. I'm so excited to hear about a witch.
Yeah, this is not going to be dark, and this is
Thank
actually.
God.
So the next time I pull witches, I'll get into the deep dark stuff. But
Yeah.
this is a Christmas witch,
I love it.
and no, it's not Krampus.
No.
It is Gryla.
Gryla.
So yeah,
Who's she?
Gryla. I'll tell you.
Izzy just fell behind you, by the way. She tripped on her way out.
I'm not doing Krampus because it's what most people have heard of.
Sure.
He was a mythological creature that was on like the outskirts of Christmas lore, and he was this horned and hooved Germanic monster.
Yeah.
And now he's mainstream.
Yeah.
There's a Krampus parade.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
He sold out.
Yeah, it's a total sellout. Influx of merchandise. He's got a long tongue. It's weird. There's even a horror comedy that Toni Collette was in. Come on, Tony. But anyway, while Krampus may be king of holiday scares, his fans may be overlooking an equally nasty, much more formidable queen.
Oh boy.
A Christmas monster who lives further north in the frigid climes of Iceland, who goes by the name Gryla, the Christmas witch. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Gryla, yeah. This tough ogress lives in a cave in Iceland's hinterlands, the matriarch of a family of strange creatures, launching attacks on nearby townships, snatching up misbehaving children and turning them into delicious stew.
No!
Christmas
Is she like Hocus Pocus?
You don't mess with Gryla, says Terry Grinnell, the head of the folkloristics department of the University of Iceland. How cool is your job?
Oh my god, I want her
The
job.
head of folkloristics. I think it's a gentle fellow named Terry.
Oh, he Terry. Not she Terry, he Terry.
He or she says.
They Terry.
They Terry says she rules the roost up in the mountains. Tales of the Ogress began as oral accounts.
Oral!
With the earliest written references found in the 13th century in historic sagas and poems throughout the region. One reads, "Here comes Gryla down in the field with 15 tails on her." That's a bad poem. Anyway, while another describes, "Down comes Gryla from the outer fields with 40 tails, a bag on her back, a sword, knife in her hand, coming to carve out the stomachs of the children who cry for meat during Lent."
Oh, cry for meat during Lent? Did they give up meat for Lent?
Yeah, I think aren't you like not supposed to eat meat during Lent?
I don't know. I'm Catholic. I'm really bad
You're
at it.
really bad at it. You're really bad at it.
I drank so much wine during the John Bonet story because I was like so
You did. Are you a
nervous
little
about telling
tipsy
it.
now?
I don't normally drink that much during my own reading.
In Iceland, the midwinter holiday known as Yule.
Oh.
Yule.
YOLO.
Yule. A version of the Old English and Old Germanic word Yule, which describes this time of gathering together, feasting, and celebrating, and which evolved into modern Christmas, is generally darker than in the U.S.
Naturally.
And not just because the sun barely comes out during that time of year.
Rings in my ear.
According to Grinnell, the earliest celebrations of the season were viewed as a time not only to bring together relatives, living and deceased, but also elves, trolls, and other magical and spooky creatures believed to inhabit the landscape.
Spoopy.
Iceland is just so magical.
I just want to go to there.
Sometimes these figures would visit in the flesh as masked figures going around to farms and houses during the season. Gryla, whose name translates loosely to growler, would be among these, showing up with a horned tail and a bag into which she would toss naughty children.
Izzy, is that you?
Izzy's Gryla?
She growls at Moosh.
Oh.
She goes,
She does.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That's actually how she sounds exactly.
She was certainly around in about 1300, not directly associated with Christmas, but associated with a threat that lives in the mountains. You never knew exactly where she was. Long poems were written about her and a husband, but he didn't last long. She ate one of her husbands when she got bored with him. In some ways, she was the first feminist in Iceland.
You know what? Don't like your husband?
Eat him.
Just eat him.
Dinner.
Start with the butt. It's meatier.
Yeah, you want to start with the meaty part, and then you just really gnaw on them bones. Other bits of folklore describe a second troll-like husband and a giant man-eating Yule cat, known to target anybody who doesn't have on new clothes.
Yule assistant asterisk.
Sorry, Yule assistant. Making a new pair of socks or long underwear an imperative for any Icelandic holiday shopper.
Oh boy.
Filling out what Gunell says, this highly dysfunctional family are Gryla's mob of large adult sons, the 13 Yule lads.
These guys.
These wise guys. So I'm omitting their names because they are just Not things I can pronounce.
Are they warlocks?
They're Yule lads.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yule lads.
Each of these troublemakers visit Icelandic households on specific days throughout December, unleashing their individual types of pestering.
Boy.
One is partial to slamming doors. One eats any leftovers from pots and pans. And one lives up to his nickname of sausage swiper.
Is this me? Is this all me?
You're the sausage swiper?
I'm not very good at closing doors. I tend to slam them by accident.
You always slam the front door and it shakes the entire building.
I don't mean to. It's just an accident.
You just let it close behind you. You don't close it yourself.
I eat all the food. I'm a garbage disposal.
You are a garbage disposal.
I don't like sausage, so that one doesn't.
You're not a sausage swiper?
No, I don't. Well, actually, yeah, I do.
You
I
like-
swipe it away.
You
Yucky.
you like breakfast sausage.
I like. No, I really don't.
You don't? Oh,
No.
okay.
I swipe it away. I
You
go,
swipe it.
yucky.
Swipe
Swipe sausage.
Swiper, no swipe.
Slap it.
Don't slap the
I
sausage.
really don't want to slap sausage. I immediately regretted that.
Yep. Gryla did not get connected to Christmas until around the early 19th century, when poems began to associate her with the holiday. It was also about this time when the Yule Lads and Yule Cat, you cool Yule Cats and Kittens,
I'm done with my wine.
which had been standalone Christmas characters with no connection to the Christmas witch, then became part of her big creepy family. Prior to that, she was really a personification of the winter and the darkness and the snow getting closer and taking over the land again. Not only did she represent the threat of winter, she was seen as actually controlling the landscape. Gunnell explains that the Icelandic people understood themselves to be more like tenants of their harsh environment, where glaciers, volcanoes, and earthquakes dominate, and would view mythical creatures like Gryla as the ones who were really running the show. Krampus only wishes he had such power.
Girl, get it.
Girl, get it. Brian Pinkleton, an illustrator who has drawn some of the definitive depictions of Gryla and the Yule Lads, says,
What a guy.
quote, Gryla is the archetypal villain, and the fact that she's a matriarch makes her somehow more frightening.
Do you think she's on my naughty list sweater?
I don't see her. I don't see her. Sorry.
Okay.
In the 20th century, as American Christmas and its depiction of Santa Claus proliferated through Europe and beyond, attempts were made to Santify the Yule Lads. That's the word they used.
Santify?
Santify.
Is it? Oh, like Santa Claus?
Yes.
Oh, I was like, do they mean sanctify?
Sanctify. Their bellies widened, their troll-like whiskers grew a
Oh my
bit
God.
bushier, and they acquired red and white fur costumes.
Are these like Santa trolls? Oh,
They also, like Santa,
wait.
began leaving gifts rather than taking sausages, snacks, and so on.
Are these gnomes?
You mean elves?
No.
Gnomes? Oh, they might be gnomes. The Dutch tradition of children leaving out their shoes to find chocolates and treats the next morning also influenced this shift.
I think they're gnomes.
Your theory is gnomes? She just figured it. She cracked it. Some critics tried to snuff out Gryla altogether, attempting to sideline the scary character with more family-friendly fare. One popular Christmas song describes her death.
Wait,
This is a popular Christmas song that describes her death.
which one?
I don't know. They didn't say.
Oh,
I probably should have looked that up.
we just got a message on Instagram.
You did?
Yeah. Said, funny about the assistant because I made this for work. Bert, the assistant.
Oh, Bert!
And they said, they're all named Bert.
In more recent years, Iceland as a whole, led by the National Museum of Iceland, have worked to return the Yule Lads to their pre-Santa roots, trying to get them dressing in 17th and 18th century ragged clothes, bringing them back to the browns and the blacks, the local wool colors, says as Gunnell puts it, looking like aged Hell's Angels without bikes. The characters appear in person with adults dressing up like them to entertain and sing with the children who visit the National Museum. You're picturing
Sorry,
it.
I'm very distracted because I looked at our Instagram
Yes.
and we got a comment from Wade Rogers
Oh, okay.
that says, I'd like to audition for the part of Horny Santa.
Got it.
Shout out to Wade Rogers.
Yes.
We are reading your comment that I find very funny.
Yes. You are officially a horny Santa.
You got the part.
You got the part. Stop looking at Instagram.
Sorry,
I'm telling a story.
No, I'm listening. It's
That's
got
rude.
distraction.
Jesus. Says Gunnell, quote, it's a little bit like hanging on to the language and traditions of that kind to avoid the global Santa image. Even if it has the same roots to the past, they'd rather hang on to their Icelandic version.
All right.
Pilkington, working alongside the National Museum, has worked to do this in his illustrations, including the Yule Lads, a celebration of Iceland's Christmas folklore, a kid's book about the characters that is ubiquitous around Iceland during the holidays in both English and Icelandic. I'll link to the book.
Oh, yeah, I want to read that, actually. That sounds
Likewise, Gryla has proven a tough figure to dislodge, with her likeness found throughout the capital city of Reykjavik and beyond, sometimes in the flesh.
cool. Reykjavik?
I know, we want to go to Reykjavik.
Yes, we've looked it up and we're obsessed.
We want to stay in one of the igloos in Reykjavik. Anyway, children are truly terrified of Gryla in Iceland, says Pinkleton. I have visited children's play schools to demonstrate drawing skills, and if I draw Gryla, then 2 or 3 terrified children have to leave the room because it's too strong for them. This is living folklore. Gunnell agrees, quote, she's never stopped being embraced here, he says. As a living figure, you see her all around Reykjavik. She's never really gone away. End quote.
Wow.
And that's Gryla the Christmas Witch. You want to see her?
Yeah, I honestly do. I can't picture her, so. She has a lot of tails.
She has a tail.
Oh, I thought she had 15 tails.
At
one point.
He only drew her with 1 tail.
Oh, okay.
This is William Lansborough's depiction of Gryla.
Oh, look at her big nozzle.
But I should look up Pinkleton's.
Hello, Izzy.
There she is.
Okay, that one's terrifying.
Yeah.
But she's looks happy scary.
Yeah.
She looks happy while being scary.
The Icelandic Yule Lads, here they are. Zoom in on them if you'd like.
They're gnomes.
They're
Don't they look like gnomes?
Yeah. But just attempt to say one of those names.
Okay. I gotta zoom in because I don't have good eyesight. Even though I had LASIK.
Yes, both.
Stickjastar. Gill Jaguar. Stoofer. Oh wait, no, their nicknames are better. Stubby, Gollygawk.
What?
Sheepcoat Clod.
Sheepcoat Clod.
Bowl Licker.
Oh, Jesus.
That's me. I identify as Bowl Licker.
You're Bowl Licker? That sounds slightly
Door Slammer. Oh, I'm also that guy.
You're Door Slammer.
Skr Gobbler.
Skr Gobbler. Skirt. Yep.
Sausage Swiper.
Yep.
Remember him?
So, yeah,
Remember
never
him?
forget the sausage swiper.
Window Peeper. That's not me.
No, that's not you. That's a bad Yule lad.
Okay, this guy doesn't even have a nickname. He's not cool enough. He's just Lepalow.
No.
And Candle Stealer. That's not me. Meat Hook. That's not a nickname. That's an object. Doorway Sniffer. Doorway Sniffer. Look at this one.
I'm Doorway Sniffer.
Are you?
Yeah.
What does the door sniff like? I mean, smell like?
Does this smell funky? I'm not going in there if it's funky.
We don't like funky smells. Is he?
No funky.
Was he always sleepy?
These are doorway sniffers over here.
They are doorway
They
sniffers.
are doorway sniffers.
I hear them in my door all the time.
So my source was a Smithsonian Magazine article, Why Iceland's Christmas Witch is Much Cooler and Scarier Than Krampus. How's that?
Legit. That's legit.
It's legit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew.
That's a doozy.
This was an episode.
It was an episode.
I enjoyed
Some
it.
would say a Christmas episode.
Oh, how awful.
No, that wasn't even a ho ho ho. What is that? What kind of Santa is this? This makes me very uncomfortable.
Horny Santa.
Oh, right.
Wade Rogers.
Wade Rogers as horny Santa.
Oh, God.
We should have next Christmas.
He's like a skinny.
We will have
boy.
Wade Rogers on the podcast, and he will read Horny Santa. He will read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" as Horny Santa.
He's already asked if he could be on the podcast.
Then he can be that.
Perfect. We've cast the role.
We have Horny Santa's cast.
Yeah.
Done and dusted.
Okay, so now the next thing we talk about is something wonderful.
It is.
And there's so many wonderful things that happened this week.
There are.
I have so many wonderful things to say, but I'm going to let you go first. Even though
Okay.
I probably know what it's going to be.
I mean, so many wonderfuls.
Yeah.
Obviously, I broke into real tears last night when Tanya showed me a picture of the plane that had landed at LAX with the first round of coronavirus vaccines on it. That means the end is near.
Today, the first people were vaccinated.
One of our friends who's a frontline worker is being vaccinated on Thursday.
Yes.
This is a huge deal. It's happening.
It's happening.
That is the most wonderful, wonderful news I can think of.
Yes.
But in a less serious, wonderful news,
Yes.
Our other patron saint, Timothy Chalamet, hosted Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, we have a patron saint candle for Timothy Chalamet.
We actually do. Oh, well, long story
We forgot
short.
to light it last night,
I know,
by the way. That was
God.
stupid of us. Not last night, Saturday night.
Long story short, I was mailed a St. Timothy Chalamet candle. And this was in the height of quarantine when we were wiping everything down. I wiped the candle down with a Lysol wipe, and his face immediately came off. So now it is a haunted Timothy Chalamet candle.
We'll take a picture of it. We'll
Yes,
post it on Instagram.
and Tanya felt bad for me because I was actually very upset that she bought me another St. Timothy Chalamet candle.
I found it and I said, "Oh, I have to buy this." So
Yes.
I bought it. I didn't look for it, for the record. I stumbled upon
You
it.
stumbled upon it and
and
you're
I
like,
purchased
I
it.
must get this.
Yes.
Well, it's perfect and it makes me happy. And it's on our patron Saint Harry Styles.
He was great.
He was.
Besides his Harry Styles.
His Harry Styles impression, let's just call a spade a spade. It was bad.
Why does everybody like it?
I don't know. They're just horny. That's it. They are horny for Harry, and they are horny for Timothy. And then Timothy channeled Harry. That was not channeling, but Timothy said he was Harry, and the internet exploded.
Yes, he did dress like him.
He did a Harry Styles impression as someone who has never once seen Harry Styles speak.
But then he quoted him at the end of the episode.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
That part was lovely. The rest of it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
But that was the only bad part.
Yeah.
He was wonderful for the rest of it.
Totally. I wasn't really into the butthole cake, but
The butthole cake you weren't into?
not particularly.
You weren't into him sticking his entire arm in a butthole cake
No,
on camera?
Not really my cup of tea.
What about Tiny Horse? No, I'm here for smoked cheddar, the ass getter.
Smoked cheddar, the ass getter.
That's what we should really be talking about, and there should be at least one
That should
Timothy
be
Chalamet fan account named now Smoked Cheddar, the ass getter.
that we should specify that is the specific how wonderful
Yes,
to this episode.
yes.
Um,
What, Smoked Cheddar, the ass getter?
my how wonderful is Joe Biden got electoral votes today.
Joe Biden became president again today.
Guess what?
Joe
He's still
Biden is
president.
still president, guys. Joe Biden has won president so many times that, I mean, at this point, they should just let him be president for until he dies. It should be like a monarchy now.
Right. Yeah.
Because he just keeps winning. It's embarrassing.
We don't promote monarchies. Let me reel B in for a minute. we don't promote
Biden
monarchies.
forever. I mean, he's old. He's not going to last that long.
No, but Kamala,
We're just like, please last through this.
Kamala can take over anytime. I'll be down with that.
We don't want Joe Biden. We don't want Joe Biden to die.
There is a family member, I'm not going to name names, but there's a family member who has stated that there's a theory going around that Joe Biden is going to retire after the 4 months, and then Kamala will
4 months.
will take over. And I literally responded with, "That
Okay,
sounds awesome."
that's fine.
It was supposed to be used against Joe Biden, and I was like, "That sounds great."
Cool. I'm
Sounds
here
awesome.
for it. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't believe it, but
We are
nonetheless,
no longer going to be held hostage by our president.
no. So, do you want to pick your topics?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, not next week, but in 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
These are your two.
For my first topic of 2021.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
This is exciting.
Will it be?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the episode we're skipping would be airing on the 28th.
Right.
So the one that we're coming back to. True crime.
Ooh. We always do this, but it's
Yes,
fine.
always.
It'll be 2 week break. So.
That's okay, fine.
I got awful roulette.
Fun! Where is it? You have it behind you.
Oh, yeah, it's over here.
We love an awful roulette moment. So many possibilities. Just can't be witches. If you get witches, you gotta put it back.
Witches is not in the pile.
Oh, okay, good.
I separated it so that we wouldn't do it again.
Cool.
Okay, let's see. Awful roulette. Everybody ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Everybody ready?
If it's aliens, I swear to God.
I don't hear anybody besides you.
If it's aliens, I swear to God.
Hello? Moosh, are you ready? He's staring at me, so I'm just figuring
He's
he was
ready.
curious. Serial killers.
Fun! True
gonna
crime
be-
and serial killers. Didn't we have that last time, too?
Yeah, but it's fine. It'll be very
okay.
crimey.
It's okay. We're starting 2021 off awful.
Putting this in the used pile.
Cool.
Even though it's technically used,
abused.
we kind of messed it up, so we're just gonna.
It's fine.
We're just gonna go with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
You guys like it, right? You're fine. You happy? You're sad?
You're sad.
Let us know. Email us.
Yeah. Where can they find us? Just go to howawfulpodcast.com. It's all there, guys.
He's getting lazy with the spiel.
I mean, come on. It's 2020. You guys should all know where all this stuff is. We're on all of the things.
As you would assume, we're at How Awful Podcast on all the social media.
All of them.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Facebook.
Find us on Facebook.
Facebook?
We have a lot of friends on Facebook.
You know what I'm going to take?
We have the most friends on Facebook. Shout out to our Facebook. Our like almost 1,500 followers on Facebook. Where are you? Are you listening? We don't have that many downloads. Where are you?
Christmas, why can't I find you?
Should we watch The Grinch?
I already watched it.
Well, I want to watch it. I'll watch it tonight in my bed.
You go ahead.
The
Grinch.
Yes.
We did this last time, too.
Can you please look at our patreon.com/howawfulpodcast?
Can you please put in your credit card information and give us your money?
This is not how you get people.
Hey, I am a top salesperson for a reason.
The reason why we keep pitching Patreon is because we're trying to build up to a certain number of patrons so that we can actually start doing the fun stuff that we promised we're going to do on Patreon.
Otherwise, it's like doing a stand-up act to your mom and the janitor.
Yeah, so we can't do a Patreon special video until we have an audience. So check it out, patreon.com/howawfulpodcast. Come join us, be our friend. There are already special things going on patreon.com. You just have to check it out and you'll have to join to figure out what that is. Yeah. And if you have any listener stories, we are very eager to read them. So please email us at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your stories of survival. Tell us your ghost stories. Tell us your alien abduction stories. You know someone that's murdered. We want to hear about it.
Tell us about your murdered family.
You were murdered. We want to know you ghost story.
Yeah, tell us.
I didn't say that right.
We want to know you ghost story.
Oh, man.
You know what? Maybe in the new year, we'll reach out to our minuscule Patreon followers and ask them to tell us a topic. Yeah. We have to research it and cover it.
Yeah, maybe we'll put a preview on YouTube. And then moving after that, it'll be patron only.
Patron only episode.
But we'll do a special request for free. Yeah. For first one's for free.
For free.
So you can see what you're buying, right?
Yes. And then, I think because of we have 2 patrons who are very, 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 very good at feedback after every episode, at giving extra tidbits. So I say it's going to be between Becky and Johnny.
I think so, too.
I think so.
All right, guys.
Think of a good topic.
Think of it. Let us know.
We're literally probably just going to do rock, paper, scissors to pull a name out of a hat to pick which one of you.
Oh, man. Well, this has been a doozy.
It's been, Lord, I don't envy you.
Yeah, that was fun.
But it's a Christmasode.
It's a Christmasode. It's got to be the big one.
How awful.
Who are you?
Bee.
I'm Tanya Lee.
Fergalicious.
Oh.
I'm so delicious.
Moosh is staring. He's confused. Oh no, he's turning away. He's disappointed. You've disappointed him.
Whatever.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We've been How Awful.
How I was beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Tweedledee.
Everywhere we go. As always, we've been Bee and Tanya Lee. Our logo was created by MJ Savard, and our theme music courtesy of Nikki Lou.